Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. I'm so glad you're here and listening into the podcast. I really appreciate you for listening in. I say it all the time and I will continue to say it because I believe we can never have too much appreciation. And because you've been listening in, you've helped us get ranked in the top 5% of all podcasts globally, according to Listen Notes. So thank you for doing that. And if you would, tell a friend about the podcast. If you feel like these are inspiring stories, I'm getting so much from it, tell a friend to listen to the podcast. All right. And as always, rate, review, subscribe. All right. Now, I'm very excited about today's conversation. Today, I'm going to be talking with Angelica Wheaton. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Angelica. She's a seasoned serial entrepreneur with a remarkable ability to build businesses from the ground up. I mean, I'm just fascinated by that alone. And she is currently at the helm of Pacific Business Partners, a consulting firm she founded to help businesses achieve their full potential. And on top of that, she has a passion for and commitment to community support. And given that, in 2014, she founded Long Beach Moms. It's an organization, that's right, in Long Beach, California, an organization that began as a small support group and has since grown to almost 4,000 members, which is amazing. And the group offers various meetups, social outings, charity events, business networking opportunities, all creating a robust support system for local mothers. And Angelica is a mother herself. She has a daughter and she lives with her husband and her daughter in Long Beach, California. Welcome, Angelica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So glad you're here and very excited about this conversation. All right, so you heard me just go through your sort of official introduction slash bio, but why don't you tell us anything you want in your own words about who you are and then about what you do currently, and we'll get into the earlier time, but who you are and what you do currently.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So I currently am the CEO of Pacific Business Partners and the founder of Long Beach Moms. And I have a couple of other companies as well. But, I am leading a team managed business and wearing a lot of different hats, being CEO and founder and mother and wife and friend and all those other things. And yeah, I'm at the helm of leading a lot of decisions and lots of opportunities for others.
That's wonderful. And you encapsulate both leadership and purpose. I was just thinking about that when you were talking, and it just occurred to me. I mean, most guests, of course, would, but for yours, it's just so nicely the way you were just talking about it. All right. So tell us a little bit more about Pacific Business Partners.
At Pacific Business Partners, we take a holistic approach to problem solving. So when I became an entrepreneur, it's like, okay, I had to learn how to do accounting. I had to learn how to do marketing. I had to have some sort of workflow or policy and procedure in place. And then I also needed to have a vision, a strategic vision, some sort of goal of why am I doing all this madness? And so the four cornerstones of Pacific Business Partners really helps clarify with overwhelmed business owners on how they can have more time doing what they love, which could be maybe they don't love doing bookkeeping or marketing or anything I mentioned. So we are an outsourced agency to a lot of small businesses. And we really dig deep. We really care about our clients, and we have long-term relationships and success.
Wonderful. And we heard from your introduction that you are a serial entrepreneur. So it sounds like businesses have been in your, I'll say, in your blood, so to speak. Or why don't you tell us how did it get started? When was your first business and what was it?
Oh my gosh. I was working downtown San Francisco, the mid 1990s. I'm going to date myself here. And I was working for a real estate investment trust fund, a private equity firm. And I just didn't want to live my life behind closed doors all the time and looking out the window, even though I was working in a really fabulous building. And I accidentally created my first company because my Nine West handbag strap broke. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't go to work with a broken handbag. This is embarrassing. So on my lunch break, I went to the fabric store, Britex Fabrics down in Maiden Lane, and bought a yard of this really cool velvet fabric, sewed together a pouch. This is kind of when the messenger bags were all super hot back then, and just put all my stuff in it and started carrying it around. And then people were like, "Where did you get that bag? Will you make me one?" And I'm like, "What? This whole thing? Like, seriously?" So then I found myself selling to stores in over 50 stores nationally. And it was really joyful. I quit my job, cashed out my 401k, and that became my full time job until a major anthropology came along and wanted my goodies. And so, I learned quickly that if you have an idea, someone else can take it and map it out as their own. And so that led me to form my second company. And my second company was being uh, like a clothier, fashion for men and women. Think of Diane von Furstenberg and Lacoste and Rock and Republic, all those brands in the early aughts that were super hot. I had opened a store in Lake Tahoe, and celebrities were shopping there, lots of really just high end people. And that led me to open 4 additional stores. So I learned quickly how to maneuver from a fashion designer to a retailer, but then to a multi store retailer.
Wow. Wow. Okay, we got to unpack some of this because you just said it so casually. Oh, oh yeah, I just sold my bag and I made it. A couple people started asking me, and voila, they were in stores. Okay, so let's go back to that because that's major. I mean, I want to leave a lesson for the listeners, though, to say pay attention to what people are sort of complimenting you on, whether you're going into business or not. It might be a pointer on your path. All right. So, having said that, all right. So, people were asking you. So, I'm imagining people you knew. Was it a long, hard journey to get the bags in stores, or was it something that happened sort of naturally? People were asking, and soon after you were in stores. Tell us a little more about that.
So that I had to totally navigate on my own. I didn't have any connections to the fashion industry. I knew how to sew. That was about it. But there was a sweatshop in my neighborhood on College Avenue at Hudson and Rockridge. And I approached a woman and said, "Hey, I need help, kind of perfecting my patterns. And can you help me?" So I hired her, and she really streamlined and perfected my patterns for the bags. So now I had like a line sheet. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a line sheet of different bag sizes and styles and types. And then I went and I did a gift show by myself, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to now just sell directly to the buyers of different stores. And I was approached by a sales rep and said, "Hey, I can help you get into more stores. Are you interested in learning?" And I'm like, "Heck yes, tell me more." Because when you go and make an appointment with a store owner, you're really taking a lot of time. You're unpacking all your samples. You're a little nervous. You're just like, gosh, you really just want to grow your business. And so I had a sales rep that really helped grow my business to those 50 stores. And so I learned a lot along the way, with, again, like not just from the patterns, but also from pricing and seasons and turnaround and shipping and returns and all of it. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and I hear your passion coming through and you're lighting up just thinking about it as you're talking about it. Okay, so I'm pointing out for the listeners some other nuggets. You're just dropping nuggets without even knowing it. All right. So you got help. First of all, the woman that helped you with the pattern, that help. I'm throwing that nugget out for the listeners. Other people in support. And then you put yourself in a place because you were at an event where the sales rep actually found you, even though that wasn't your necessarily direct intent. So that's another lesson to go out there that you did very naturally, put yourself out there. All right, so you're in all the stores and you're doing all the things. All right, so now let's go back in time because we know you have this fabulous company now. We know where you started with, oh, just so casually sewing up a bag, which I don't even know if I can sew a button. So that's a gift. I'm just saying it's a gift. That's all I'm saying, Angelica. All right. So let's talk about little Angelica. Where did you know you wanted to be in business at some like were you like, when I grow up, I'm gonna have businesses or what were you thinking at an early age?
Absolutely, I wanted my own business. My grandfather, on my dad's side, had his own Mexican restaurant, and it was the first one in town, and it was highly successful. And I got to see how we got to go visit him at the restaurant, and he could, kind of make his own hours because he had his staff to kind of take over and do things, and it just gave me that, scratch at the surface of a different kind of freedom, versus the 9 to 5 jobs. And asking for permission was the biggest deal that I saw. He didn't have to ask anybody for permission. So that was really, really inspiring. And then my other grandfather had a farm, and so he was an entrepreneur in his own way. And so I literally just kind of grew up around that, and it was really joyful and impactful. But I knew probably when I was 4, when my mom taught me how to sew, that I loved making things. I just loved that. And throughout my lifetime, I was making my own clothes, like in junior high and high school. It was just such a blast. It was so much fun to be creative that way. And so I really just envisioned myself that I one day was going to have an apartment in San Francisco, an apartment in New York City, and one like maybe in Europe. I didn't know where. And well, I got one of those. So
I love that you were dreaming about that at a young age.
yeah, and I wanted to either be a fashion designer or a real estate agent. So I love houses. I love the customer experience, the creativity. Again, every day isn't one of those cookie cutter type of days. You kind of make it your own. And so I thought those were two areas that I could really excel in. And ironically, I have all my classes for real estate. I just never took the test. So I was just too busy to complete that. But as a fashion designer, I made that true. And that was just really, really awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. And you said you liked to make things when you were young. So you're making things, right? You were, whether it was clothing or businesses or making other businesses run well, you're still making. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping I'm hoping people who are listening are inspired looking back at their own early journeys at the things they loved. And I have to say, I've been interviewing a lot of women on this podcast, and very few know at a young age like you did. You were clear, not exactly what kind of business, but you knew you liked business, which is amazing. Yeah. Just by seeing because you had two kind of role models for business.
Yes, absolutely. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's great. All right. So now let's go to the middle part of your career. We're like, that was well, we went for the little girl and then we went to the big catalyst. Your bag was amazing and people wanted it. So then at some point you made a switch along the way from fashion. Tell us about around that sort of those years of your career.
Yeah. So, I'm living in Berkeley, living my best life in Berkeley. And my husband, now boyfriend, then we bought a house in South Lake Tahoe. It was kind of for, the winters to go skiing and the summers to go hiking and swimming. And I told my husband, I'm like, I am not going to move to Tahoe. I just can't live there. I need to be doing something. And he's like, but you can make your bags from up here. And I'm like, no, 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 no. So there was a shopping center that was being built, and we were one of the first tenants in it. And so it was really exciting because I wanted to sell other people's products because it was, being a designer and creating, it was just this constant roadmap of having to reinvent yourself over and over. And so we opened our first store, and to great success. It was really awesome. We had to close the store down for a few celebrities. I won't name them, but it was really exciting. It was we had MTV when they were doing their summer series up in Tahoe. They'd come in, and I mean, it was just so much fun. It was awesome. But that was the first time I actually had to hire employees that were going to represent my brand. And, now there's this liability too. What if they say the wrong thing? What if, I mean, oh my gosh. So it was a very fast learning curve of coming from fashion designer to now a retailer. It,
Which would you say you enjoyed better, if possible? I mean, I don't know if you could choose.
um, I think I liked being a retailer because it was all these really amazing decision makings that I was able to like go to New York, go to Vegas, LA, and really just learn about new designers. That part was really inspiring and exciting for me. And so when I was buying a lot of items for our stores, I would see the little designer in me going, "Oh, I could have done that too." So I think being a retailer just really had this big creative open door for me. It was just incredible.
Yes. So now how'd you get from there to Pacific Business Partners?
Well, the recession came in 2008, and I closed all of our doors, and um, I found myself excuse me, answering a lot of questions that my friends and family members had. How do I keep track of this? What do you do when an employee does this? Should I hire my best friend's daughter to run the cash register? All these like aha moments kept going off. And so I found myself consulting. People were paying me for advice. And so I became a consultant. And then people were saying, "Hey, I need to get my bookkeeping done." So I would go in and do the bookkeeping and then turn around and do their marketing and then turn around and help them with their workflow operations and turn around and help them with their strategic vision. And I had some really great clients that I really kind of just broke the ceiling on my own, and I was able to hire teams to come in and help support my high level clients. So it wasn't just me doing the work, it was my teams. And so that was how really Pacific Business Partners came to be.
Because the business now then partners with other businesses, hence the name.
Correct.
Ah,
Yes. Yep.
got it.
Mhm.
And so then I mean, it sounds to me like all of it, in some ways, you had to be a leader, but now, especially if you are now leading all these teams, you are now a leader of leaders, so to speak.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, definitely. And leadership it's a hard role, it's a natural role. It's evolving. And I feel like through my leadership, it's because of experience, but also because of education as well. I find myself constantly looking to keep my leadership skills sharpened, by listening to different podcasts. I'm also a graduate of the Robert Mayer Leadership Academy and also the leadership here in Long Beach, Leadership Long Beach. And so having those two kind of programs really fine tune and dig deeper on a different kind of leadership level was really impactful.
Yeah, it sounds like throughout the journey that you shared with us so far, you always get the help you need. I mean, you keep moving up and succeeding, what it seems to me like great success, but you always continue to get help and grow. That's great.
Absolutely. And I think one of the strengths of a leader is you need to ask for help. You
Mm-hmm.
can't do it alone. And
Hmm.
when you do ask for help, you really, the phrase, together you go further. And it's so true. Very true.
Yeah. Now, would you say you have a sense of purpose in the work you do these days?
Absolutely. I think for me, I've always been just a general giver. Whether it's going to my aunt's house and helping out, in any capacity or your neighbor, I've always just been that go giver. And through my companies, I've really been able to give back and really support in areas that just became so natural for me. Like my Long Beach Moms organization, I really needed that because I didn't have a village to empower me when I became a mom. I didn't know anything about Long Beach as a parent. And I found that I wasn't alone in needing specific things. And so I was able to create different avenues in my Long Beach Moms community to really support strategically for the parents that really needed help. So for like my entrepreneur moms, we have the Long Beach Moms Business Network where we host workshops and business mixers. And kids are always invited. Like never the excuse of, oh, I can't come because I don't have childcare. No, we're a Long Beach Moms group. Bring your babe. So I think the passion to really serve others and to lean into those that need help. If I have the expertise, I'm there to help. If they need somebody that I don't know about, that I will seek that resource out and connect. And so I think being a connector is really important too.
Yeah, and I love that you took a need that you had and said others must have it too, and let's do it together. I think that is amazing that you did that. And um, it started as a small group, and then now it's almost 4,000 people. What would you say is the thing that made it grow so much in a short amount of time? I mean, it's 10 years, but still, it's a short amount of time.
Yeah. I would say it's the passion of moms really wanting to connect with each other
Wow.
in our local area. And so I think if our group was a public group, we'd probably be at like 20,000 members or some unmanageable number. And so I think really having the platform to just be yourself and to ask questions and know that other moms are going to come from their own experience and say, hey, this worked for me, or let me put you in touch with, whoever it is. Building that trust among moms can be really nerve wracking because being a mom it brings a lot of emotion, a lot of anxiety, a lot of, are people judging you? Are you saying the wrong thing? Are you wearing the wrong baby carrier of the week? I mean, there's just so many judgments. And so my goal was really just to break that down. And, one of the rules that I have in my group is, no shaming. This is not the place. We're here to support each other. And you don't know where that mom is coming from. You don't know what kind of day she's had. So it's all coming with support.
Yeah. What a wonderful gift to the women and their children and their spouses and the rest of their family. Yeah. That's amazing. I love that you're doing that. All right. So you said you have a sense of purpose in your work. Was it something that you set out? I mean, I know you had this sort of passion already for business, but was it something you said, I'm setting out to have do work that's a part of my passion to have purpose, or did you just sort of stumble across it and then notice one day that you have it?
Well, I think like for Pacific Business Partners, because we can help a business in so many facets. We're not just a typical consultancy agency where we just do one thing and then we're out of there. We really take a high touch approach and we give our clients options. Whether they take our advice or not, that's up to them. But I believe that our reputation and the way that we care for our clients is really different than other businesses. And so I take a lot of pride in having that passion to really care about other people's businesses versus just doing the work and billing them. That's not us. So I really believe that when somebody is asking for help in any of those components, they probably need help in other areas too and may not realize it. And so I really just, love taking that deep dive approach and making the owner feel that they are supported, that they do have a partner that they can call upon as a resource.
Yeah. Yeah. And in your story, as I'm listening to you throughout the journey, there's always been this, responding to the needs of others, like with your own need, like with the broken bag from the beginning, and then what other people are asking for and attending to that and moving forward, um, kind of fueled by your passion. It's really an inspiring story. What would you say, uh, as you follow your passion and do your work, would be one of the biggest frustrations along the way? You can pick any era of the career journey we talked about. And I asked the question because some people, I don't want to give them the impression that it does that, someone like you has found purpose and work from their passion and that it never had any frustrations. So they know when their frustrations come to keep going because it's part of the journey. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, I think a lot of self-doubt and as business owners, I think we find ourselves in overwhelm. And so we can be frustrated with our decisions and, really just kind of get second guessing yourself. Am I making the right choice? And it could be something really simple as, um, you know, let's just take a bookkeeping client, for instance, like, hey, we really need to do your books because it's end of year, tax season, et cetera, but they don't want to give us all their details in order for us to move forward to succeed. So that's frustrating, right? So then we have to reframe it and say, hey, remember, we're here to help. You chose us to help you. And so we're reminding you that this is really what we need so that we can, get your taxes filed or whatever that project is. So as a business owner, I feel and know that a lot of business owners put too much on their plate and they get frustrated. And so the frustration can come from, gosh, I should have asked for help earlier on so I don't find myself in this spot. I find myself in the same shoes too. I run multiple companies and I have to, instead of reacting to fires, I need to strategically plan my time. It's like every Sunday I spend about a half hour and I map out what am I doing for the week, who do I need to reach out to, so that way Monday morning I'm not spinning 1,000 plates in the air. I have a plan of action and I can ease into my week. And so I've learned to really just kind of quiet down those frustrations. And again, I teach and explain this to my, anyone that comes in contact that's looking for help. Let's map out your week. Let's make sure that you've got this dialed in. Um, Another frustration is saying no. Um, I always feel like, oh, yes, I can help. I'm going to be there, at a charity event or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, wait, maybe I am a little too thin this week. I forgot my daughter has a swim team thing going on and all these other things. So I think that's a common daily frustration is like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my time?
Mm. Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure so many people resonate with that. Do you think it's important? We talked about, yes, you have purpose, the sense of purpose in your work. Do you think it's important for you and or others to have that in their work?
Absolutely. I believe that if you don't have a purpose in what you're doing, then you should not be doing what it is because the results are not going to be stellar. And so I really truly believe that when you're passionate about something, it's really easy for you. It should not be difficult because it comes from a passion and that passion could be maybe you wanted to be a vet all your life but you're you know uh, working at a bank. Well, maybe that bank isn't bringing you that passion, so maybe switch the gears and start taking your veterinarian night classes so that's what you love doing, helping animals or caring for animals. Like, I feel like we can always pivot if we're not passionate about what we're doing right now. It's never too late to go and find what it is for your true calling.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Now, just a couple more questions in case you were wondering where we were on time. I'm going to make sure we get you out of here on time because I know you have something right after this. All right. So this podcast, as you know, is Leadership Purpose, right? And it's for high achieving women at any stage in their career, whether they're early in their career, mid, or later on, but they're looking for more meaning and purpose in their profession. So that's who the podcast is for. And I identify a high achieving woman in this way because we use the language, but we might all have different definitions. I say she is responsible, ambitious in a positive way. She's good at a few things. And she's the one that people come to in her professional life. Hey, I just want to, pick your brain or get some advice. She's the one that people come to in her personal life from the neighborhood, family, community, organizations, whatever she's involved in. Hey, let me get your advice on this. She's the one that's always giving them advice. And now she's in a career that it seems okay on paper, but she's like, there's something missing.
Mhm.
I'm yearning for more meaning and purpose in my work, but she has no idea what to do. So the podcast, and especially this season, I'm talking to people to help inspire that woman. And of course, I offer some programs in that regard too. But for our conversation, with her in mind, what's some wisdom, advice, or tip from either your professional life experience or your personal life experience that might just be inspiring or motivating to her?
I think that going out and serving others is really going to help find the passion. It can be, at the shelter, it can be at the library. It could be maybe just piggybacking with another business owner. I think if somebody is really trying to hone in and find that true passion, you have to try on a lot of different things. And so I think if you have a plan of maybe six different industries or six different community actionables, that's really going to elevate and put yourself out there. And I think sharing and telling people that you are looking for your passion, somebody's going to ask you the right question at the right time. And those light bulb moments are going to go off. And that's when you realize, okay, I need to make these changes. And you create a plan to make those changes. And sometimes, as entrepreneurs, we can sometimes run our business and others at the same time because we find another calling as well. So, you don't have to just quit what you're doing. You can still do it on another level as well.
Yes, yes, that's very helpful advice. And for people who are listening, this advice holds whether you are thinking about a business or going into business, or if you're in a corporate setting. I think it can go either way. So I appreciate that. Now, before we tell people where they can get in touch with you. Is there anything that you want that popped in your mind that you want to share that you didn't get a chance to say, or that I didn't ask you? Like one more thing, let me just say this last thing before we tell people how they can connect with you.
I would say one last thing is just remember it's lonely at the top, and asking for help is a strength. And it's amazing who you can call upon when you need advice. And so, my uh, you know, I don't want to say yes to everything, but you should say yes to everything because you can always change your mind. That's how I put it. So just go out and seek fun things to do, be around positive women, motivationals, and you would be really surprised what can happen.
Yes, yes. I mean, we can't finish on anything better than that. All
Yeah.
right. So for people who are saying, "Oh, I want to hear more," how can they be in touch with you?
The best way is through my Instagram. If you follow me at Angelica Wheaton, all one word, that'll kind of give you the list of all the other areas that I live in. And yeah, so give me a follow on Instagram.
Wonderful. And we'll be sure to put that in the show notes. Angelica, you have been an inspiration. I appreciate you for coming and sharing your story. You have a wealth of wisdom and experience and expertise that I find inspiring. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you. Enjoyed
Okay.
it.
I'm glad. Me too. Okay, everyone. And I'd love to hear your response to this episode. Just hear any thoughts you have. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on all the channels, but I spend most of my time on LinkedIn at Robin L. Owens, PhD, at Robin L. Owens, PhD. And if you know someone who is like the woman I described, successful but unfulfilled and just doesn't know what to do next, tell her about the podcast or have her connect with me on LinkedIn and get on the wait list. I'm doing a program coming soon for that very woman who's successful and unfulfilled and maybe even feeling trapped by that success. So send her our way. And in the meantime, this is Dr. Robin.